on the preliminary plat. You can go
Yep.
ahead. The Medelia EDA has presented a preliminary plat, the Riverview Heights subdivision number 2. The proposed changes would be to the current lots 10, 11, 12, and 1 of Block 5 of Riverview Heights. The new proposed plat, being called Riverview Heights subdivision number 2, will move the property lines to make the current lots more marketable. This subdivision is governed by the covenants. The changes to the covenants by vote were received and accepted on March 8, 2021. At this time, is there any questions in regards to the preliminary plat that is being proposed? After all comments and concerns are considered, the preliminary plat will be addressed at the 5:45 EDA meeting also.
How much is it changing from what was there originally?
Did you happen to?
I'm looking at it right now, yeah.
If you look, you can see the dotted lines.
Oh, I got you. That's that, okay.
That's what was changed, so the
Yep.
pie-shaped lots were more
Yep.
squared off.
Here, just.
So
I
this is
got
original?
you.
And then you just transfer.
No questions or comments?
I have questions before. Why are we here again?
Because we have to do a public hearing for a preliminary plat.
I thought when we did the allowing the front,
Yep,
that we were
so,
done, that we were done.
well, you didn't have to come tonight, this is the second step of it.
Right.
So a
We-
preliminary plat, you have to do a public hearing.
I know that.
But what's the
But
reason for
why are
the,
we changing those lots?
That's what we voted on.
Who did?
All of you guys, when we were here back in the winter, that's what we
No.
discussed.
No, we discussed allowing the setbacks on certain lots to be changed. There was no, does anybody remember discussion?
well,
I'm asking.
there may
because
have been
we weren't
discussion
here.
that
Okay,
you were gonna do a survey, but I don't believe that there was anything about going to do them.
Change all that.
Change it for sure.
And is this a problem? Do you find that this is a problem for anybody to make these lots more marketable?
explain to me why those lots are not marketable right now.
Right now, is it an issue that we try to improve what we have?
No, I asked the question of you. Why are we changing those lots?
We're
What-
making them
what-
so they're not
Yeah,
so
that was
pie-shaped,
the
so they're squared off in the back.
Correct.
Why do they need to be
So
square?
that's a new one.
Why can't they be square?
That's a new one.
Why do you think Bolton
So we
Mink
got three
originally
Yeah.
designed the development the way they designed it?
I got you.
Things change all the time, Pat.
I know.
And we're
I'm
just trying
very,
to market
very
them for
aware.
a different, market, you know?
And obviously the way they were designed hasn't worked. They're not selling where they are, right?
Well, tell me about all the rectangle ones that aren't selling.
More squared shape.
So there's 3 or 4 that are pie shaped that haven't sold.
Yep.
And there's every other lot in that middle that's not, the rest are not. Why haven't they sold?
I don't
Why
know.
haven't what, okay? So you're gonna make an issue that those lots are not selling because they're pie shaped. And yet there's 10, 12, 13, 14 other lots still sitting out there that haven't sold that aren't pie shaped. So I'm confused on why we're sitting here trying to change a development that it was done to give it some character, to give it not, well, I'm gonna show you a picture of the definition of cookie cutter. Right here, pass it around if you want, where every lot is just about exactly the same, square, rectangle. This was 1950, 60. The streetscaping is today. It's what we do. Dustin, do you run into it at all?
What's that?
Streetscaping, when you're in developments, are they all?
Oh, right.
Huh?
Yeah, it all depends on
it all-
where they're at.
Exactly. And that development was set up to have some character. And now people wanna come in and make things square and make things straight, and make everything like a rectangle, and that's not what the intent was, obviously, when it was built and designed and laid out. So again, I'm gonna ask the question, why those lots have to be changed?
Why can't they be?
Why should they be?
Well, they're not selling the other way, so we're trying to
And
find a
neither are a
different way.
bunch of the other ones, I
We're
just
gonna
made
try
that
to
point,
find a
Chris.
different way to
I just
make
made
it
a
more
point.
marketable. There's
Well-
nothing wrong with trying to try something new to see if it's a little bit more eye-catching.
Do you live out there? No, I do. I have a vested interest, just like the rest of these people. I don't know what their feelings are, so I'm not gonna speak for them. But I have a vested interest out there. I live out there. I like my neighborhood a little crooked and winding and not straight. I don't know what anybody else wants. Rhonda, you're looking
Well,
at
I'm
me like,
just looking to see
I'm asking.
if you had, your house on there, would you, it might be easier than having a flatter back than to have these cause is that the deal, we're
It
trying to
was
get rid of the
pied,
pies?
it was
Yep.
to a T.
So what would you do in the back of that pie?
Nothing, they pie back, you guys, that's what they do. That's.
But that's not going to pie back, are those in the middle there, what happens in the middle?
No, I'm saying the way it is now, that they pie back, that's what they all go to a point in the back, and that's the way it is.
So
It's
we
just those couple.
made them wider,
The rest
Mhm.
don't.
Yeah, it's
That's
just,
all.
yeah.
so we made the other ones wider, so we're, to place a house, you could place a house on there and still have somewhat of a backyard.
Well, I have a map of Lily Lake Estates, which is over in Lake Crystal. And there are 4 lots in Lily Lake Estates. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pie shape. Every one of those lots has a house on it. And those lots, every one of those lots, except for one of them is a little bit bigger. They're all smaller than these out here. I mean, these lots are huge. They're 18, 19, 20, 21,000 square foot lots. It's not like they're just a little lot. And these lots in Lily Lakes, everyone is built on, and they were some of the first lots that were sold over there,
The corners.
the pie ones. So again, I'm asking the question, why we have to think we have to change something when those lots are huge. There's nothing wrong with them. They're buildable, beyond buildable.
So your main objective is just the characteristics or the, of the
Yeah,
action,
yeah.
right? There's no like, I mean,
No, you know, no, that's it. It's the character that's out there. That's why they streetscape, you guys. And when you're gonna streetscape, at some point, you're gonna come to where you're gonna need a pie, or you know, it's just common sense. It's gonna happen, and you deal with it. It's my neighborhood. It's our neighborhood, but I'm only one voice, so that's my voice, our voice.
your thoughts, Mary Jo, you've been out there
Well,
a long time.
I probably personally wouldn't want to buy one that narrow to that deep of a point, because then in the back side of your house, you're gonna have your neighbors. And if we got the sidewalk, this first lot, I don't know how you would get a house in there. My personal opinion is to make them sellable, square them off. I mean, I like things that, at a square. I'm not opposed to, I mean, I like the curvature of the street and everything, but
We're
I
talking
would-
strictly mowing lines, basically when it comes up, because the way you lay the house in there, but really, the way the lot shape is really gonna be how you mow, right? Really, the way the houses are laid in there could be the exact same way if the lot was square.
Right.
Or if it was
Exactly.
triangle, or if it was whatever, the
Right.
house is still
Right.
gonna lay in there, be square with the street or semi-square with the street. So it's really all we're talking about is mowing lines, right? I mean, the grand scheme of things. Or if somebody planted trees on their property lines, you know, they could be at an angle versus straight, right? But as far as changing the actual architecture of the houses, it won't change that, correct? It's more
It
of a-
shouldn't, because I'm guessing that, well, it's gonna depend on where they put in the, let me see that. This one.
I guess I had a question.
So where's the setback lines on that? What's,
It's a 25-foot setback, that's what we voted on, to go with the setback ordinance of the zoning ordinance.
but it's an arc, so do you set on it or behind it, or where are you setting the house? Cause there's an arc there now, so where does the house set? Cause you're not setting it on an
You
arc.
don't have to put it at 25 feet, you can go back further than 25 feet. But you can't come up front before the 25 feet.
Okay, before, and I'm just saying, before, those houses were supposed to set on
The survey line.
the survey line.
And the survey
Yep.
line was taken off, and now the block 5 follows the zoning ordinance with the setback of the 25 feet.
Or behind,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
It
or
can go
behind, because,
It can,
okay.
if they want to build it at the 50-foot setback that was actually on the survey, that's
Yep.
their choice. But it can't go in front of the 25 feet.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
okay, yep, no,
So back to the arc or whatever.
right,
you
so
know,
they would have to stay behind, I mean, they're gonna be behind the arc, they aren't gonna be at 25 feet, cause they can't,
Yep.
right, they're gonna have to set
Yep,
behind the arc.
yep.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Do we have someone that's interested in these lots right now?
I have somebody interested in on the other side of block 5 and on that side. So,
Well, okay, so my question is, if we wanna square them off so they're more sellable, why are the square ones not sellable? So,
I don't think it's talking about shape, it's more of where the position of the lots are. I see what you're saying by size, but it's more how they're laid into the development, right? I don't think it necessarily matters.
No, they were saying that, Dustin, sorry to interrupt, but that they're changing them from the pie to something different, cause they're not selling. Deidre's saying, there's, just like I asked originally, there's all kinds of other lots out there
That are
aren't-
square, yeah, I get what you're
and they're
saying.
not selling.
Yeah.
So,
But maybe the people that wanna buy them wanna be in that front corner, right, versus being somewhere else.
who knows?
Right, and, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, neither do I. Nope.
and so this outlet A, that would be, once again, moving the playground, I assume.
when block, or that lot 4 would sell, yeah, then we'd move the playground. Or else if the playground is so outdated, we would just get rid of it.
Are the sidewalks gonna keep going around out there? Cause that's never been approved by us,
By the covenant.
by the
It's part of
covenants.
the
It's not part of the
covenants.
covenants, they're not part of it. So I'm asking the question there because I remember when, the talk of West Main came up and putting some sidewalks down on West Main, which is probably the busiest street in this community. And I remember the uproar of the people down on West Main, and I don't believe there's gonna be sidewalks put in down there. Are
That was a
there?
trail,
Doesn't like to.
it was a trail.
Okay, are there gonna be sidewalks going down West Main?
I don't know, the project isn't even being
Is
discussed
the
right
trail
now.
gonna be,
The project is not being discussed right now. I don't know what could happen in 5 years.
I
When
thought
the
that was getting
county,
done in a couple of years.
when the county has the appropriate funding for it, then we'll discuss it again.
If I kick back.
So it's not even on a docket or of anything?
Right
No?
now, at the time.
Okay.
so did the people that live out there, did they vote on that trail or not? Okay.
Well, if you consider a survey of both, it was a survey that they could express their opinion on what they thought.
Sorry, guys.
So what's gonna happen with the sidewalks? Is that gonna be voted on by us that live out there or that own lots?
If somebody, I can't say no to somebody that wants to put a sidewalk in if they're building a house.
Uh,
If they're paying for it,
If who's paying for it?
if the landowner pays for their own sidewalk,
Okay, so the city didn't pay for part of that. I thought that was what was said at the last
we
meeting.
have a sidewalk cost share. And that is what we paid for. But if they choose to not do it, you can do it in town too. If you have a sidewalk that needs to be redone or something like that, there's a sidewalk cost share program that we have. So if that's what they choose to put in, yes, I'm going to encourage sidewalks for people to be safe. I mean, if you have little kids, I don't want them playing out on the road. I would like them to be on a sidewalk so they can ride their bikes and stuff. And there is kids out there. So wouldn't you want them on a sidewalk?
Love to, so then we should probably have them put in on the whole, pretty much west end of town, because I know there isn't hardly a sidewalk down on the west end of Medelia.
Well, then
I've
that's
lived down there a whole bunch of my
That's the
life.
property owner's responsibility to come in and talk to me in regards to development in the cost share program.
I know, but you kinda talk out both sides, Chris, cause one second you're saying it's for the protection of the kids, and I get it, hell yeah, I think we should, but you know what? When that development was done, there was supposed to be trails and biking trails and all that stuff. And that was going to be our sidewalks, and that was going to be our safe zone to be able to get around and go around and whatever. Where are they? Never
Well, that's
happened.
gonna be from the
Well,
subdivision into the.
I know, but it never happened.
Back
And
when-
I'm just gonna say this, I've kind of been walking my subdivision lately, cause I tore a hamstring and had to have that repaired, and I had a knee put in about 8 weeks ago. And I've been walking the streets of, my subdivision a whole lot. You know how many cars I see out there in a day when I'm out there walking? Pretty much us that live out there.
Which is increasing.
Travis, my police guy, and the boys come through, thank you very much. But there's not a lot of traffic, you guys, I mean, there's not. But that's another argument.
Felix, what do you think about the lot sizes?
It doesn't matter to me, yeah, I wouldn't like the pie-shaped be room there at the end, I know
Right,
that.
but as far as it changing the whole subdivision to make you wanna move out of there, it doesn't,
To make what?
I mean, you're still fine with the
Ours
sizes.
is pie-shaped,
Right.
I don't know how narrow that is right at the end, but right at the end, that corner, I would want.
Cause the main goal is right to, I mean,
Back
trying to
there.
fill the subdivision, correct?
Yes.
And that's what, I mean,
Yes.
that's with everybody, right? We want
You want people-
more tax base, we wanna create more homes, we're trying, that's what the whole story is, right?
That was a story 20-some years ago, Dustin.
And it still is, and it still is, but now we're gaining some traction with.
That was
I mean,
the
look at-
story.
More people.
Right. I
And
mean,
with the sidewalk, I would be in favor of sidewalk going around. He said, no,
the middle.
not much traffic, but only takes one vehicle
Right.
to hit a kid. And
I just talked to
And-
one of the neighbors out there on the
And
way
I
in,
just,
he
and I
made
just
a
saw on this
comment.
four-wheeler, they have a little electric, car, and he's right down the middle of the road, and somebody can come around the corner and look at their phone or whatever, and they're right in the middle of the street going around. I don't know who it is, is it Lindbergh or?
Oh,
there?
the-
Huh?
Yeah, they've got, yeah.
And they're right in the middle of the street going around with
I
a little
know.
car.
Yep.
And he's walking behind them, fine, but still,
Do we need a motion?
maybe they wouldn't go on the
We
sidewalk,
need to
I
close
don't
the
know.
public hearing and go on to the planning
Okay.
commission.
Okay. I guess if there's no other discussion, is that what we wanna do?
If there is no more discussion, we can close the public hearing.
Okay.
Is there any more discussion, or are we done? For Joe?
I'm good.
Okay.
All right, we'll close the public hearing.
We can open the planning commission.
So now we'll open the planning commission meeting.
And the first, thing on the agenda is the preliminary plat, for Riverview Heights subdivision number 2. If the planning commission, wants to, approve it, table it.
Let's say the planning commission discussion. Motion to approve, deny, set it aside.
I'd say as long as we're all in agreement that this is what we wanna do going forward to make them more saleable, I have no issues with it. So,
Is that a motion to
I'll make a
approve?
motion to approve it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Travis seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes.
This will go to the EDA tonight at 5:45 for the EDA's approval for the preliminary plat. The second thing on the agenda is Dustin Van Hale sign request. What size sign?
4x8, says Vernon Manufacturing skid loader attachments.
Where will you be placing the sign?
On the east side of my building facing Highway 60.
And it's the height of the flags and all that's just over the 3x5.
It's over 3x5, yeah. Yeah, and it's their sign, I wanted to make one that was gonna be 3x5, but it's whatever they give you, so.
Any discussion on the sign request from Oman?
I'll make a motion to approve the sign request. I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
You're
Abstain.
abstaining. The third thing on the agenda is Josh Lund's. We tabled this back. We tabled this due to the fact of the vacating the alley behind him. The vacation of the alley has been done. Lund's has been contacted, but, has not replied, so we will have to table this item since he is not here tonight. With all that, that is all I have on the agenda.
Is that it? All right. Motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
I'll second
All in favor, say aye.
it. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And they're closed.
All right, I do have the amendment here tonight if you do want to sign it. And Heather has it over there to notarize if you would like to, so you can go over there and come on over.